right, don't freak out. I'm here. Everything is good. We're going live in 9 seconds. I'm just doing my thing. It's Thursday night. It's Friday. It's Fader night. It's Friday night. We're going live right now. Here we go.
Bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Yo, 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 Thursday night, Fader nights, Fade to Black, Bespoke Radio for the masses. Yeah, man, it is Thursday, July 19th, 2018, 201 days into the new year. Just 164 days left, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? It's Thursday night. Nothing like Thursday night here on Fade to Black, because it's another Fader night, and we've got John Rappaport here, and it's No More Fake Newsroom Live. Then followed by open lines all night long. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. All right, you can head over to OnStellar, OnStellar.com, OnStellar.com, the new great social media platform. Send me your friend request over there. Follow what I'm doing. I just posted another article over there. You can go and read it. It's called Disclosure. I don't need no stinking disclosure. Yeah. And it's right there. All right. I posted it up on Facebook. Rita's got it up there on Twitter. I just retweeted it. You can go and check it out. It's my show notes for tonight's broadcast, and I'm going to go through that in just a second. But if you haven't been over to OnStellar yet, go and get her going. Get registered on OnStellar.com. Promo code, referral code, Jimmy, Jimmy. Go get her done. Go hang out with all of us. It's an amazing place to be. You can also follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple. Come and hang out with us on Twitter. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2B. Any questions or comments during this show or any other show? Hashtag F2BQ. We've got 2 chat rooms open. One over at Spreaker and one over at KGRA, the Planet. All right, everything is in real time. All the interactions are in real time. The conversations are in real time during the show. I've got everything open in front of me, and you can go and join the conversations and hang out with all of the audience and the Fadernauts. They're all right there, okay? You can also email throughout the show, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. All right. Now, I announced this last week. I'm going to continue until River Moon Coffee tells me to stop, which is they have a 20% discount right now on all of their offerings. Okay. Now, it's not just the Fade to Black blend. No, it's on everything. 20% off. All you have to do is go to rivermooncoffee.com, and when you order, use the promo code Coffee Break. Coffee Break. 2 words, coffee and break. Take a break. Coffee break. It's that simple. All right. Now, I got so much to talk about tonight, so I'm going to get all of this out of the way. John Rappaport is going to be here at the bottom of the hour with his No More Fake Newsroom Live. You guys like the shirt? This is from Adrian over at Disclosure Fest. Adrian Valera gave me this shirt. It's very cool. Tie-dye. Just for me. Right? All right. Let's get this show cracking. Lots to talk about tonight. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We have now, as of today, 890 archive shows right there. Unbelievable. For Apple, Android, all platforms, just $2 per month. Go over to jimmychurchradio.com, click on that podcast banner. $2 a month, that simple. All right? Okay. You can also become a Fadernaut over in our membership section on the site. You get the Bunker Cam. You can get commercial-free downloadable archives. That's right, downloadable right there. Play it back as you wish. And if you get the Game Changer, you will get an autographed hat that you can only get with the Game Changer. We don't give them away. We don't sell them, only through the Game Changer. And if you want, just let us know. I'll autograph that shirt for you, too. Okay? And you get all of that right there in the membership section of Fade to Black right there. Okay? Now, don't forget, all of our sponsors here. We've got a couple of new sponsors that will be with us at the first of the month. And I'm very excited about that. But our sponsors have been with us for a very long time. Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, unbelievable company that has changed everything about me and my diet and my health. Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com. Go and visit. Promo code FADER, F-A-D-E-R, will get you free shipping. River Moon Coffee, I just mentioned. They've got a special right now. Coffee break, 20% off of everything, including Fade to Black blend. And Ancient Life Oil, CBD, right there. The best, and not only the best products, but the best prices on the net. Ancient Life Oil, Sacred Skulls, unbelievable jewelry. Some of the finest artwork you're going to see anywhere. Sacred Skulls. And, of course, new Manna food storage, emergency food storage for you and your family. It's unbelievably tasty, but you will have the peace of mind knowing that you have got everything prepared for you and your family should the emergency arise. And, of course, Bearing Optics, night vision goggles. Bearing Optics, give Alec Hoffman a call over there. And all of the information that you need is right there at jimmychurchradio.com. Click on the Bearing Optics banner. I'll be talking more about that in just a bit. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. That's right. Guitar God Brian May is 71 years old. When Bohemian Rhapsody came out, I was at the Post Exchange, right? The PX. And I don't know. I remember I was at the Post Exchange. I don't know if it was here in the States at Fort Ben Harrison or if it was down at Fort Clayton. I can't remember. Well, anyway, I know that my dad grabbed the Queen album. It just came out, Bohemian Rhapsody, handed it to me, and he goes, have you heard about this? I was like, what? You don't know nothing about Queen, Dad. He goes, this is great. So I bought it, took it home, dropped the needle, and my life changed. That is one of the great albums of all time. Unbelievably great. Happy birthday to today, Brian May. Also today, Benedict Cumberbatch. Today is 42 years old, and although Doctor Strange was good, it was good. I really enjoyed that movie. I've seen it a few times now with Rita. Really good movie. But Alan Turing in The Imitation Game, Benedict Cumberbatch, today is 42. His new series on Showtime or HBO, whatever it is, too harsh for me. It's supposed to be funny. It's a show about heroin addiction and all of that. Oh man, it's tough to watch. But anyway, happy birthday to today. Benedict Cumberbatch is 42 years old. On this day in history, one of the biggest days on planet Earth went down in 1799 during Napoleon Bonaparte's Egyptian campaign. One of his soldiers discovers a black basalt slab inscribed with ancient writing near the town of Rosetta, about 35 miles north of Alexandria. It was the Rosetta Stone, and it held the key to solving hieroglyphics, a written language that had been dead for nearly 2,000 years on this day in 1799. Fader fact. Now, okay, here we go. I love this. I wonder how many of you know this or have heard this before. Iguanas have 3 eyes. That's right. 2 normal and a third eye on the top of their head that only perceives brightness, known as the pineal eye. It is also found in frogs and sharks, right? But it's absent in all mammals. There you go. There's your fader fact. The pineal eye, the third eye. Yeah, that's amazing. Tonight's another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom live. That's right. John Rappaport is back from his road trip. And then it's open lines all night long. I love my Thursday nights around here. And there you go. Okay. All right. Brian May, Cumberbatch, you guys get it. Okay. Here we go. Now I'm going to hit this coffee. I got a long rant here. Disclosure. Disclosure. It's a big word with lots of meaning. It is. It's mentioned daily on this show. It's brought up in endless conversations, articles, posts. It's everywhere. And I'm certainly asked about it at least a few times a day. I am. You can imagine. And I know in a very general sense that disclosure to our community means one thing, that the President of the United States will step up to the podium live on TV stating E.T. is here, UFOs are real, that we made and continue to have contact, and that the answer is simply, we are not alone. And I get it. I really do. It's what everyone expects when they talk about disclosure. The big D. So, what is my answer to the question? You know, will we have disclosure? Well, it's simple, and I've said it so many times, over and over again. I don't need disclosure. And I get it, because a live announcement around the world would be great. It's the icing on the cake. And I would be so happy for all of you. I really would. It's what you need and what you've wanted for so many years. And it would allow you to move on, right? It would be a tremendous emotional release. I saw it go down on December 16th. You know, the feeling that disclosure was here. Well, that kind of came and went, and that's fizzled. But at least you got a taste of it. Because I want it for all of you. I want it for the community. I want the happy faces. I want the parties. I want the joy. It would just explode. And I would party right alongside you. Chilled vodka shots all around. On me. I promise you that. But disclosure of the fourth kind, I just don't need it. Seriously, I don't. But let me explain. Growing up, I never saw a UFO. Nothing. Nada. I just didn't have a sighting. I didn't. The only thing that I can remember seeing crazy in the sky, and I saw lots of planes as a kid, lots of helicopters. I lived on military bases. I saw all those things, right? The only thing that I saw that was crazy was I saw a Zeppelin, and I think it was the Los Angeles, fly across North Chicago, right across my school. And I saw it. I heard it. And it wasn't high. And I looked right at it. It looked like the Hindenburg, but it wasn't. I think it was the Los Angeles. Well, anyway, but that's all that I have seen. Everything that I have seen, I've seen as an adult. And I've seen them with witnesses. I was never alone, which is significant because all of the sightings can be backed up by several, if not hundreds of people who can say, yes, it happened and I was there too. My first official sighting didn't happen until I was 33 years old. And it was not only my first, but it was the only one when I was able to take a picture. And I took it on film, not on digital. That sighting was in Monterey, California, on the beach back in 1996 at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was just a black dot ripping across the sky, way up high at around, and I really don't know, but probably around 30 to 50,000 feet. I was on the beach taking pictures of my friends when someone said, "What is that?" I snapped a pic. The black dot stopped and then swooped around a cloud and disappeared up into the blue sky. Gone. I forgot about it until many months later when I was developing the film, and I found a picture of some clouds in the middle of the other pics of us from the beach. And I kind of remembered the black dot thing, but I couldn't see it in the pic. So I grabbed my jeweler's loop and I looked at it, and there it was. It was a perfect black triangle. Tiny, but it was there, And here's the pic. I'll hold it up to the camera. You can see it's just a picture of some clouds, right? But right there, you can see it is a little black dot. That black dot is a triangle. It's crazy, right? I still have the negative, too. And once in a while, I'll show this picture that I just held up to the camera to friends. And, yeah, it freaks everybody out. But I've never published it because I don't want it to be exploited or passed around the net where it'll show up somewhere, somebody claiming that, hey, I just took this picture. I took this picture yesterday with some friends. I just don't want that to happen. So I keep this to myself. One day, I promise, I'll make this thing public and I'll tell the story. But my second official sighting was with Rita, and she saw it first. We were driving down Latuna Canyon back in 2009 at 10:24 p.m. in the evening into the valley when she yelled, WTF is that? Now, I'm driving down a curvy mountain road at night in the dark. I got to be careful. But I looked at her quickly, and she was looking up through our sunroof. And as I turned my head back to the road to keep us, safe, a bright white ball shot down through the center of the windshield, probably 5 miles out in front of us, and it appeared to crash right in the middle of downtown Van Nuys. I seriously expected a huge explosion, but nothing happened. The whole thing lasted about a second. That was it. Just done. Maybe 2 seconds. It was over. There was no smoke trail. There was no flames or sparks. Nothing but a bright, white, glowing ball. I immediately called Wolf McCarran of MUFON from the car, and I reported the sighting. That happened at 10:24 p.m. He said he hadn't heard anything, which surprised me because this was directly over and into the valley. 1 million people live right there. The lights of the valley's right in front of us, but nobody saw anything, right? We get home, I jump on the net, I turn on the TV, I check the news, and there was nothing. Nada. I continued to check for anything over the next week, but there was nothing there. Later the next week, some of Rita's people at her office, some co-workers, started talking about a white ball they saw the week before crashing into the valley. They saw it, but couldn't find it. They went out and drove around trying to locate it, but never found it. My next official sighting was in 29 Palms, California. We were there just outside of Joshua Tree, about 20 miles from Joshua Tree. We were there for Contact in the Desert back in 2015, and we rented a small bungalow out in 29 Palms in the middle of the desert, nothing around us, where we had a little party, about 15 people. And while standing on the patio with Steve Murillo, Alex Mastretta, Space Boy was there, and about 6 other friends, Walter, someone said, "Wouldn't it be cool if we saw a UFO?" And at that exact moment, about a quarter of a mile away, a bright white sphere just shot up from the ground and went straight up into the stars. Just poof, gone. All of us saw it. It was incredible, and it was totally on cue. I'm not sure how big it was, but it wasn't small. It was probably a few feet in diameter. But again, there was no noise. There was no smoke. Nothing. It just shot straight up and disappeared. And that, too, lasted for about 2 seconds. That was it. The next day, I woke up and walked out to the patio to have a look over in the area where we saw it take off. And I was totally shocked. There was nothing there but open desert. Not a road, not a trail, not a building, nothing. Just desert all the way to the mountains a few miles away. There's nothing there. My next official sighting was a year later, back in Joshua Tree while speaking again at Contact in the Desert. And yes, this was the big one that everyone has talked about, and I've talked about a lot here on the show, so I'm not going to go into the long story because it's been told many times, and it's out there on the net with all of the details. But there were over 100 people with me at Orion's Lookout and another 2,000 at the retreat center behind us, who witnessed everything going down, and it was nuts. The short version is this. I watched a bright green chrome ball for about 5 minutes, starting from a few hundred feet off of the ground, cruise in a straight line as it was, about a mile away, and just going across the tops of the hills in the distance. And then it just took off. It was about 50 feet in diameter. And this was all with my naked eye at that point. Then somebody handed me a pair of night vision goggles, and another one held a microphone up so I could describe what I was seeing over the PA system there. And the crowd, as I'm describing this, is screaming and yelling. It slowly rose up and just continued, just to fly up slowly into the stars and turned into a star in the sky. Then, at the end of that, it moved a little more, stopped for a few seconds, and then just turned 90 degrees left and shot off into space and was gone. The next year at CITD was the now famous Zorro Z. And this year, the crowd at the same spot had grown to a couple of hundred people, maybe even a few hundred. And probably because the sighting the year before, was out there everywhere. And I was looking up at the night sky with everybody else, and this aquamarine blue light just appeared, and it flickered on. It's hard to describe, but it flickered on while it was moving from left to right. It wasn't very high, by the way. It was probably about a mile up or so. It wasn't high at all. And it carved this big, perfect zigzag Z in the night sky. It went left, zigged down, then zagged right, or zagged left and continued. It flashed its headlights a couple of times. I don't have a better way to describe it than that. And then it just turned off and was gone. The crowd was yelling. You should have been there. The crowd was, did you see it zig? It was blue. It zigzagged. It flashed us. Everybody was just, it was out of control. But on a serious note, I want everybody to understand that this wasn't small. The sighting took up this huge chunk of the night sky. So if you imagine yourself cutting a backwards Z with your arm fully extended, right? Just cut a Z in the sky. It was that big. It was huge. It was miles wide. It was huge. The whole thing lasted probably 3 seconds, and I can't explain it, but that's what happened. Hundreds saw it, and it was a totally cool experience. Last year, while at ECETI Ranch, we saw stuff for 4 straight nights. Too much to go into here. I've talked about these sightings a lot on this show. But we saw things every night, and they were going on all night long. And I don't remember a lot of it. It was just so much stuff. But there were 3 sightings that even when I hear myself talk about it right now, it still seems pretty hard to believe. But thank goodness we had, over 100 people there. But it was completely and totally out of control. But I'll keep it short. The first one, I talked about it last night on the show. It was a ship because I could see its shape. It was definitely a disc. It was very low, probably a few thousand feet. It was right above us. It came over the trees, flying from the south to the northeast at an angle, just like flew at an angle over us. And when it was right over us, it was light pink. And then it flashed us like a camera. And then after the flash, as it flew away, it turned light blue. It continued northeast and just flew away. I was stunned. We were all stunned. It was amazing. The other sighting up there, the second one that I want to mention, I was standing with Mark Walsh, husband of Holly, and again with like 100 other people. But Mark and I were standing there together and looking at stuff. And I look over to my left, which was due west. And just like right above the horizon, I see 3 planets, 3 stars, just like sitting out there. And it looked kind of strange, almost like science fiction film or something, just weird. And I turned to Mark and I go, hey, check those out, man. I don't remember those being there. And he goes, yeah. So we look, one of them was brighter than the other 2, but they're just sitting out there like a triangle. And we get binoculars, and we're sitting there watching them for a couple of minutes, and they're not moving. They're just sitting there. And I thought, wow, that's kind of strange. When the bright one, the big one, just lit up and then shot off like a dragster. Didn't shoot up. It didn't go up. It just went across the horizon and disappeared. Poof. It was gone. And I know it sounds crazy, but it happened just like I'm describing it right now. And then the third sighting up at ECETI was just as dramatic. We were right in the middle of like 45 minutes of action. There was things to our left, there was things to the right, there were things above us and behind us and in front of us on Mount Adams. It was crazy. Everything going on at the same time. And then this right above us, this planet, just like started to get bright and it started to move. And we're all looking at it, talking about it, and somebody yells, flash us. And it flashed. And somebody yells again, flash us. And it flashed again. I was like, man, this is too much. So me being me, always the loudest at the party, I yelled, one more time, and it flashed. The crowd started screaming, so I continued with the one more time, and the crowd started counting. 5, 6, 7, 15, 20, 21 flashes in a row, and then it stopped flashing. And I yelled, come on, give us 22. And it gave us 22. And 23 and 24. The crowd counted off all the way to 31. 31. Now, I want you to imagine for a second, just for a moment, you looking up at the night sky and seeing some bright planet start to move. And that's cool enough right there. And that would be good enough. But just imagine if it started flashing as it is moving while you tell it to flash. And it does that 31 times. I get it. It sounds crazy. And there are those out there that are going to try to tell me that it was a satellite of some sort, or it's this, or it's that. But I'm here to tell you this. I'm almost 55 years old, and I have never in my life just looked up in the sky and see anything do that. And I've looked at the sky nearly every day of my existence. Every single one, and I've never seen this happen. So, you see, I don't need disclosure. I've already got it, and I'm cool with it. Everything that I've just described to you right now was witnessed by many, many people who were there. And some of them are going to post, Jimmy, I was there. And I hope that they do, because I have no problem being the voice that will stand up and shout, because I've always been the loudest guy at the party. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Coming up after this short break, John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. I said it, I mean it. I don't need no stinking disclosure. This is Fade to Black. Stay with me after this short break. It's John Rappaport back from his road trip. Stay with me.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at KGRAradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake Newsroom in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world as it is fed to us every day by the Ministry of Truth is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash, they all go down, and we see the light of day. A new day. No more robots, No more androids. It's the No More Fake Newsroom with John Rappaport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Great to be back, folks. Got a lot of stuff going here tonight. Let's see where we would start. Well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And Del Bigtree. Del is among other things, the producer of Vaxxed, a movie we've talked about many times here on the show. These two guys have done something monumental, but the mainstream press doesn't want to mess with it. They don't, oh, baby, we don't want to get near this thing. Forget it. What Kennedy and Bigtree have done is they've gone into the law books, federal law, 1986, Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. Remember that one? That was a law that was passed to protect the vaccine manufacturers, because the manufacturers went to the federal government and said, hey, we're getting out of the business of manufacturing vaccines because it's too expensive because of all the lawsuits that are being filed against us. Why lawsuits? Because of vaccine damage, vaccine injury, so vaccine death. Severe stuff we're talking about here. Severe. Federal government said, hey, wait a minute. We've got to have vaccines. Let's make a deal. We'll get a law passed that will protect you, shield you from financial liability in case of vaccine injuries. We'll invent some kind of a federal maze that people have to go through that's incredibly painful and confusing to try to get some compensation from the government, not from you. And you keep making those vaccines. Okay? Well, buried in the language of that law is a section, and this is what Kennedy and Del Bigtree found out, that says that the Department of Health and Human Services has to update Congress every 2 years with a complete report on what it is doing to improve vaccine safety. Okay? Why? Because even the most bought off and sold out congressman of the period, 1986, realized that there was in fact a significant problem with vaccine danger, vaccine safety. And so they stuck this little thing in the bill saying, okay, Health and Human Services, which includes, of course, the FDA and the CDC and so on and so forth, and research units like the National Institutes of Health, you boys are going to have to do something about vaccine safety. You're going to have to keep trying to make vaccines safer and safer, and you're going to have to report every 2 years to Congress on what you're doing. And what Kennedy and Bigtree found out is that there are no reports. None. Ever. Should have been the first one, 1988, and every 2 years after that up until now. Health and Human Services has finally admitted in court they have no records of any such reports. They've broken the law for 30 years. Broken federal law for 30 years. And indicate by breaking the law that they have done nothing of any substance to improve the safety of vaccines in 30 years. So when people start telling you, oh, we know they're so safe and effective and everything is fine and so forth, you point this out to them. Everybody and his brother recognized there was a horrendous problem in 1986 with vaccine safety. And so they felt compelled to put this little section into the law, and they did. And the Department of Health and Human Services, which is, by the way, a cabinet post under the president, has done nothing to be in compliance with the law for 30 years, has done nothing to update Congress or to improve the safety of vaccines. Now, you can see why, of course. You want to open up a Pandora's box and let researchers in there? Are you kidding? And say you're actually going to look into the issue of vaccine dangers and what vaccines do to children with open eyes, independently and objectively, and you're going to keep digging and report to Congress every 2 years? Are you kidding? That would torpedo the U.S. medical system, to say nothing of a giant part of the federal government, the medical part, that has been saying for decades and decades, oh, we know that vaccines are incredibly safe and effective, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Baloney. All complete baloney, as I have documented 6 ways from Sunday at No More Fake News for years and years. This is one of the great tragedies of the planet, vaccination. The lunatics are the people who claim they know the science and are doing science. They are the lunatics, okay? They want to call us the lunatics because they have nothing else to offer. They want to try to paint us in a very unfavorable light, as if we don't know what evidence is, as if we don't know what proof is. Case in point, I dug up an old article that I'm looking at here from 2016, December, at the World Mercury Project, which is run by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., about the CDC whistleblower William Thompson. You remember him? Longtime CDC insider, researcher, scientist, author of key studies on vaccine safety and on the issue of, do vaccines have any connection to autism? A serious researcher. In 2014, August, on his attorney's website, out of the blue, William Thompson published a statement. His attorney from Cincinnati, Rick Morgan, you can find that statement somewhere, I'm sure still on the website. William Thompson admitted that he and his colleagues lied, broke protocol, committed fraud in a study of the MMR vaccine and its potential connection to autism, and exonerated the vaccine as having no connection whatsoever, when in fact it did. And they hid this by physically destroying evidence that they themselves, as researchers, had gathered, and their study, their fake study, was published in the journal called Pediatrics in 2004. You can point that out to people who think they know something about vaccine safety as well. So, at the time, Thompson said that he would not speak with reporters, but he would cooperate with Congress if hearings were held. Despite efforts in that direction since 2014, nothing has happened. There are no hearings that will call William Thompson to the stand. But a lawsuit filed on behalf of a boy who was severely vaccine injured, and I'm looking at the article now, the plaintiffs filing the lawsuit, their attorneys, among whom was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., said they wanted to call William Thompson to the stand to testify under oath about the connection of vaccines to autism. And it turns out, don't ask me how or why, but it turns out that a court cannot subpoena or order a man like William Thompson, who works for the federal government, to testify in a case like this unless his employer at the CDC, in this case, the head of the CDC, Tom Frieden, would okay it. And Frieden said no. And the quote was, Dr. William Thompson's deposition testimony would not substantially promote the objectives of the CDC or of Health and Human Services Department. What? Who says that his testimony was supposed to promote the objectives of those agencies? Thompson is a human being. He's a researcher. He has great and vast experience. He claims that he himself and colleagues at the CDC were guilty of fraud in a study which exonerated a vaccine and said it didn't have a connection to autism when it did. So he certainly has relevant information, but no, he can't testify in a lawsuit because his boss at work says he can't. What is this? The old Soviet Union? What does his boss have to do with whether or not Thompson can testify as a citizen of the United States? Who cares who he works for? Whether it's a federal agency or a private company, or he has his own business, or he's on unemployment, or whatever. But no. And the court said, okay, well, if you don't have a note from your boss saying that you can testify in this case, Dr. Thompson, we can't permit you to come in. Are you kidding me? This actually happened? Yes, it did. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So as you can see, we're hitting it hard on medical issues tonight. And I should also bring up here, as a matter of course, background, let's call it context. I've mentioned this before on the show, that the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, is in the business of buying and selling vaccines, childhood vaccines. Many, 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 many vials of vaccine. Every year they buy and sell roughly $4 billion worth of vaccines. This is a federal agency acting like a corporation. What are they doing buying and selling $4 billion worth of vaccines when they are at the same time the agency tasked by law with protecting human health by doing studies on the safety or dangers of various vaccines, which they are buying and selling at a rate of $4 billion a year. If you have a few active brain cells to rub together, you can see the enormous conflict of interest that exists immediately right away, and why, therefore, nobody should trust the CDC in anything that they ever have to say about vaccines. That's something else you can mention to anybody who thinks they know all about how safe and wonderful and reliable and provably safe vaccines are. CDC, criminal agency. Much more to say about the CDC, and I have on the show and written volumes about the CDC over the years and their crimes, their ongoing crimes. They are basically a RICO outfit, if you know what a RICO outfit means, continuing criminal enterprise. A law devised to prosecute mobs and rackets would apply very, very much to the CDC. Okay. Also this past week, I decided to delve a little bit into, what shall we call it, psychiatric fake mental disorders. about which I've done much work over the years as a reporter and have reported on that extensively on Fade to Black. But I decided to look into the origins, so to speak, of bipolar disease diagnosis in young children, because it's expanding in America. Manic depression used to be the name of this, but they decided, for one reason or another, they liked the more abstract title, bipolar, meaning you go up and you go down. You go up into elation, glee, fantastic, grandiose plans, or very irritable, elevated moods where you're extremely irritated, out of control, and then on the other side, bipolar, sink into a puddle of depression. And that's called bipolar disease. Okay? And since 1995, roughly, the diagnosis has been made more and more and more in young children, especially in America, which means that those children have been dosed with extremely dangerous toxic drugs like valproate, lithium, and risperidol, among others. So, by the way, try to use a search engine and find out how many young children in America under the age of, say, 12 have been diagnosed with bipolar. See if you can, if anybody has actually listed a figure. I did some searching and I found a lot of other things, but nothing on that score. But we do know that the diagnosis has been expanding, and one of the main reasons why is a couple of researchers at the Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard in 1995, kids ward there, who claimed that they saw children coming through who were, a number of children who were, quote, manic, a, quote, technical term for the upper end of manic depression or bipolar. And this was the first time that somebody, a serious researcher, claimed that they had found evidence that young children could contract bipolar disease. I put all these terms in heavy quotes because, of course, the whole thing is absurd. Diagnosing manic depression in young children who are known to go up and down and always have, up and down, up and down. So, in the New York Times article about what happened at Mass General Hospital in 1995, which I wrote about this week, I quoted a paragraph about these kids who were coming in there who were, quote, manic. And the New York Times happened to mention that every one of these kids who was manic, minus one, had already been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. What does that tell you? Follow the bouncing ball. Screw in your brain real tight. It tells you they were already on ADHD drugs like Ritalin, Adderall, and so forth, which are basically forms of speed and cause speed crashes in people sooner or later. And part of a speed crash is the so-called manic phase, which is not manic at all. It's just what happens to people who do enough speed. They become extremely irritable, extremely obnoxious and aggressive, and that's the so-called upper end of their manic, which is not manic at all. It's a drug reaction to ADHD drugs. And that's how, based on that piece of psychiatric insanity, that is how the whole business of diagnosing bipolar in children really took off. And if you want further backup on this story, keep in mind that in the official Bible of psychiatric disorders, under bipolar, there is no defining diagnostic laboratory test by which to diagnose bipolar. No blood test, no urine test, no hair test, no genetic assay, no brain scan, no nothing. It's all done by menus of behaviors put together by psychiatrists who sit down and argue. This is not biological science. This is not chemical science. There is no definitive diagnostic test for bipolar. So it's very easy to start diagnosing it in young children if one wanted to, and one was a leading psychiatrist, which is exactly what happened. And that tragedy has continued to expand because, as I said, the drugs for bipolar are very, very serious and dangerous drugs. Risperdal, for example, can cause motor brain damage. And since I posted the article, I've gotten some response back. Usually, or quite often I do, a story will come back to me. My cousin, my brother, my sister, my father was diagnosed with this on no particular basis that I know of, and he was given drug after drug after drug, and his whole life was destroyed. Can't stop now, folks. These are big stories, all of them. They ask for your attention. They ask you to spread the word. They ask you to make people aware of what's happening in our world so that people have the knowledge and the information to make informed choice and decide what they want to do for their own health. That's my report for tonight. Good to be back.
Welcome back, John. I wanted to ask you a question before I get to the phones here and get to the break. Has the CDC ever come down on you?
No.
No legal actions or anything?
No. No.
And do you think that is because you speak the truth, right? They wouldn't be able to, if anything did go to court, then things have to get revealed, just like with the vaccines.
Yeah. In this case, though, the whatever court proceeding would specifically have to revolve around, is he telling the truth or is he being maliciously hostile with false information?
Right.
So the evidence would be, the court case would be the evidence, right?
Right.
Also, the other factor is it's a federal agency. It's the government. In other words, if the government could bring me to trial, to a court case for calling them a criminal agency or presenting evidence to that effect, that means that I have no First Amendment right vis-a-vis criticizing the government at all.
Right.
Do they really want to make that case? I don't think so.
That's why you are you. Welcome back, my friend, and I can't wait for next Thursday, John. You are the absolute best. Thank you so much.
So great to be here, Jimmy. Thank you.
You got it. John Rappaport. And again, like I say every Thursday night, start your day at nomorefakenews.com. He invented it. He invented No More Fake News 20 years ago. John Rappaport. All right, let's do this. It's Thursday night. It is Fader night. Open lines all night long. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Do you need disclosure? Do you need it? Let's talk about that tonight. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hello, I'm Katie and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly Ancient Life Oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. It's Thursday night. It is Fader night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Open lines all night long. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Unbelievable report from John Rappaport tonight. And, man, I missed his voice. Oh, man, it goes to show you he was wound up and ready to go. And talking about that, also my thing on disclosure, do we need disclosure? Do you need disclosure? Okay, do you need it? Or is there enough for you, right? So there you go. There's that. I do want to hear from everybody tonight. And, of course, if you've had anything that you have seen in the skies, or also I laid out 3 or 4, maybe 5 sightings there in my rant. Were you present at any one of those? And I would like to hear from you. Okay, those were remarkable sightings with so many people there. So I would like to hear from you on those. And I wanted to go back before I start grabbing these phone calls here tonight. That there's something else that John has been reporting on over the last couple of years. I've talked about a lot on this show, which is the opiate epidemic that has been ongoing in this country, and the amount of dollars in big pharma and everything that is behind that. And it seems to have dropped off the radar of mainstream media and Congress and the Senate, lawmakers, where it was discussed somewhat. But what I find interesting about all of that is, it hasn't ended. It hasn't gone away. The profits are still there. The drugs are still being shipped, right? The prescriptions are still being filled, and it's just seemed to have dropped off. So there's that, and it's not so much that stuff that's on the surface. It's the conspiracy that is behind that. I just find it interesting. All right, let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Deb from Sacramento.
Hey, Deb, how are you? First up tonight. Wow, you got through.
I know, and on a different line than I usually call in on. Hey, I have a theory about, do I need disclosure? Absolutely not. I got to tell you about a sighting I had the other night, but first I just want to say, on the heels of Stephen Bassett and what Lori McDonald was saying this week, I think because Russia, China, and the United States, the three biggest powers in the world, all have the same type of alien experiences.
Sure.
Craft, bodies. I think they have a secret agreement that when it's done officially, they'll all do it at once together. That's how I think it's going to go down. Could
be. I wish we knew. Right? I know. I wish that we knew. It's so easy. This is what I find really funny with everything, especially with this audience and myself, where this show covers all forms of conspiracy, right? So it's like a conspiracy crowd calling conspiracy on a conspiracy inside of a conspiracy. Right? It's funny if you think about it like that, right?
Well said.
All right. So what was your sighting you had the other night?
Okay. God, man. Okay, so I'm outside star watching, 3 in the morning, right? I'm always up late. I'm out there taking a walk around the court. I look up, and I'm looking at what I think is Mars. Only it looks super low, way lower in the sky than usual. It's super bright, and it looks really gold, almost like a gold chrome ball, right? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, no, that's got to be Mars. And I keep staring, and all of a sudden it starts to move to the right. And I'm like, holy crap. So I run in, grab my phone, go out there, and by the time I got out there, where it was moving right in the sky, I looked up and it was right back where it originally was. It had gone back to where it was, where it started, and it was stationary and it wasn't moving anymore. And I'm like, is my mind playing tricks on me? What the hell? So I started taking pictures of it, and then, and I stared at it for a long time. Then I took a picture of the moon because I wanted comparisons. And, of course, on your cell phone, it just looks like a dot in the sky. But when I took it on my phone and I blew it up as big as I could, it had a glow around it, but there was something solid inside, and it looked like a small aircraft, like a private pilot would fly. It was the same shape as like a tiny little private plane with glowing all around it. And then I looked at the moon picture that I took, and there was no glow around that. It was just a solid base, solid all the way through. So there was something around that glow, or inside that glow of the craft, that there was an actual craft there. And so I sent it to my friend, and when I tried to blow it up and send it to him, it wouldn't let me, so I just sent it to him. I go, blow it up. He goes, it won't let me. It's just a dot. So he couldn't get anything out of it. And I don't have email on my, I don't know if it would matter, but there's definitely something under that glow. And so I've been staring at it every night now, it's up there. And I'm thinking, well, maybe my mind was playing tricks. I'm just like, no, my mind was not playing tricks on me. I know what I saw, and I had that rush that you get, and then I felt kind of scared because it was like moving at the speed of a satellite, and I'm like, it was kind of coming closer, and then I'm like, okay, I don't want to get abducted. So now I know that feeling, like you're excited, but you kind of get a little scared for a minute, and then you kind of back off and you want evidence. And that's when I ran and got my phone.
Rita had a sighting last week during Fade to Black. Yep, she went.
Which night? Which night?
I don't know.
Friday?
I don't know.
Oh, not Friday.
No, it was. It was Monday or Tuesday last week. She goes topside, and I started getting text from her on my phone, and I'm doing the show, right, and I'm reading the texts as they're coming in, and she's like, there's something that just came down. And I'm opening up my text now. Let me see here. If she says, I watched it come down, stop, and do this for about 5 minutes, then it went away. When the camera picked up, it's about 1/4 of the size. And she says it's very bright. These are all of her texts in a row. Helicopter could hover, but for lights this big, I would have to hear it. Only one color, white, no green, red, or blue. And there it is. And so she took a video of it, but it doesn't really show up that big here. But it came down right above the lights. What do you call it? Street lights? Yeah, yeah. And I was all jealous.
Wow, that's close.
Yeah, I'm in here. I'm down here, doing the show, and she's up there having fun. And, so that happened last week. But yours was up in Sacramento.
Yeah, and it was on our street. There's no light pollution at all. There's no street lights on our block, so it's nice and dark. And and I saw something similar actually last year, but it was on New Year's Eve. I'm sure it wasn't fireworks, so it was over by Cal Expo, and it was the same thing. It was like a gold chrome thing, and then it just boom, shot up in the sky and disappeared. Yeah. But this one stayed in the sky and went back to where it started. So it was freaky.
Yeah, there's
exciting, though.
There's another spot here. I talked a couple of years ago about this bright star that was showing up at the far west side of the valley, right? Just, I'm sure that it's a satellite that gets positioned out there because it doesn't come up on the star charts or anything. Well, anyway, so I talked about that, but there's another spot to the north, and at night you can look, and I see these, what looks like a group of 3 or 4 yellow lights in a row, very tight. And it looks like maybe what you would see if you saw a plane flying in the distance, multiple lights on it. No red, no blue, nothing like that. And it's just right there at this one spot. And so I took note of it about a year ago. And once in a while, I would just look over to the north, and there they were. And then one morning, I just decided, it was like mental note to myself. Okay, in the morning, check it out to see if those are lights on top of the mountain. Maybe a fire camp, ranger station, that kind of thing, sitting up on top of the mountain. So finally I remembered, and I told myself to do this many, many times, but I just always forgot during the day. And about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, it's in the morning, and Rita and I are having our coffee, and I went, oh, yeah, that's right. And I look, and there's no mountains there. Right? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm going, now, wait a minute. I was expecting to look up and see the ridge of the mountains, okay, so that's where it is. Okay, all right, it's up there. There's no mountains. So I tell Rita about it, right? And I said, okay, I've been seeing these lights every night right there. And so I told her, I said, now just make a mental note to self, kind of orientate yourself to where these lights are. And then when we're out here during the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, when we're out here, we'll look. So this is last month. And it's over the weekend, and I'm sitting there, and there they were. I go, look, Rita, look, there they are. And sure enough, they're like in the exact same spot right there where I've been seeing them for the last, I don't know, probably a couple of years. It's been a long time. Now, and so, in the morning, and I told her, I said, is it a ranger station or anything? But no, watch. Tomorrow morning, remember where those lights are. You're going to see there's no mountains, and you can't see because it's dark, right? You can't see the mountain.
Right.
So anyway, the next day we get in position and we look, and there's nothing there but blue sky. Next night we go out, there the lights are in the exact same spot, and it's like 3, maybe 4. I haven't very tight. and off in the distance, miles away. So I guess what I need to do, I don't have a good pair of binoculars. I've got a really crappy pair of binoculars, right? A one eye.
Me too, little ones, and that's what I was looking through too. That's why I resorted to the camera.
Yeah, I've got a one pair that they're older, and then one side of it they're all fogged up, right? So and they don't focus right. They don't. I've got to just go down and pick up just a decent pair of binoculars, $50, $100. Anything would be better than what I have now, so I can go and take a look and see what's going on. But yeah, there you go.
I'm saving up for my bearing optics because man, I can't wait to get my cousins together and give them a show.
Oh, you wait! It's a life changer. Thank you so much, Deb. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too, Jimmy. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great night. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Karen from Seattle.
Hi, Karen from Seattle. How are you?
I'm doing good.
What's on your mind?
Well, I heard you talking about, we don't need no stinking disclosure.
I don't
and that's
need
me.
no.
I
don't need no stinking disclosure. What movie was that? Yeah, what movie was that? Is that Three Amigos? Three Amigos? We don't need no stinking badgers? I don't know.
We don't need no stinking badgers. I can't remember. I don't
can't
know.
remember
I don't
either.
know.
Somebody will pop it up there on Twitter. But so you don't need no stinking disclosure, do you?
I don't. And the reason is I've seen multiple UFOs, and my family and I saw them at the same time. We were in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and on Malmstrom Air Force Base during the big UFO flap.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And where we lived in both places, we could see out over the missile sites. And I was really small. I was under probably 6 or 7 years old. In Grand Forks, we could see from where we were, it looked like, little golden dots kind of flitting around over the base, over the missile site. My dad was in Minuteman Missiles. And everybody just talks about, it just happened once, all those UFOs over the missile sites and shutting them down and turning them on. And it didn't happen just once. It happened multiple times. And we would go out in my yard and we would watch as these lights were flitting around over the base. Freaked my dad out. Completely freaked my dad out. Same thing at Malmstrom, only those were lavender. And we were at the end of the runway, between the runway and the missile site, and we would watch them come down over the base, and all the lights would go out, the electricity would go out, and the lights would go out, and these lights would fly around over the actual airbase, and some of the lights would come on, and some of the lights would go off, and some of these lavender dots would fly away, and they'd go out over the missile site, and then they'd come back. And it was odd, and everybody in my family saw that. My dad would come home just terrified, and it was because it wasn't that they were turning on and off the electricity. They were turning on and off the systems in the bunkers that fired the missiles, and there was nothing my dad could do to stop it, because that was my dad's job, was to maintain the systems that made the birds fly.
Right. And now, Karen, what is interesting about this is I've had Robert Salas on the show. I've interviewed a few that were involved, but I think you're the first eyewitness that I've spoken to that was outside of the military and was an eyewitness to all of this stuff going down. I don't think I've heard anybody come forward before.
Yeah, the effect of the guys in the silos and in the bunkers and in comms control and all this stuff, the effect on them was, I had never seen my dad cry until it happened in North Dakota. And he came home the next morning, and my mom looked at him. She goes, "Oh, my God, Cliff, what happened?" And he sat down in the kitchen chair. And I remember this like it was yesterday. It's so vivid in my mind. He sat down in the chair, and he started to cry. And he just kept saying, "Mom, there was nothing I could do to stop it. I couldn't shut them off. And they were powering up to fly. There was nothing I could do. I could not shut those missiles down." And Mom was just like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" He said, we had shut off all the power ourselves. And those blankety blank missiles fired up and were hot and were ready to go. And then they'd shut down. And the CO kept telling me, "Cliff, damn it, do something, do something." He said, and there was nothing I could do.
Wow. Did he?
Yeah, imagine being.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, let me ask you this, Karen. Was he above ground or below ground when this was going on?
He was below ground.
He was below ground.
He was below ground. Yeah, he was. There's a control area that's pretty far away from where the missiles would come up out of the ground. Obviously, you don't want to be on the butt end of an Atlas missile when it fires off. Of
course not. Of course not.
Yeah, so there's a containment area over a way that is protected and safe, but he would maintain the missiles, and so he would be down in the bunkers down in the silos with the missiles.
Well, and the reason why I'm asking is was he ever did he see the UFOs is what I'm asking.
He did not see the UFOs above ground. What he saw were blue spheres that came down into the silos.
Oh, wow. Okay, now that's interesting. Were there...
Isn't that interesting?
I'm going to come back to that. Okay, I'm not going to let that go. Trust me. Okay, but were there others that were there that saw the UFOs that described what you were seeing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of the guys that Dad was stationed with. And it was a situation where they all kind of checked with each other. They said, did you see that? Did you see that? And everybody said, yeah, we saw that. The guys stationed out on post, security, some MPs, the guys that were up topside, they all, after this was all done, they had to go debrief. And they all just kind of looked at each other like, yeah, we all saw that. And then nobody ever talked about it again.
Wow. It's so fun for me to hear you say things like post, MPs. You are obviously a military brat.
I am obviously a military brat. But, this was in the 60s. I'm a different kind of military brat than probably is around today. So, I'm pretty old school here.
Well, that's the way that we talked when we were kids. It's the same, going to, I had said earlier tonight, the post exchange, right? The PX. And I haven't, I haven't said PX in a long time, and it just came out today. I just said it, but that's So where do you guys, where are you guys going? Oh, we're going to go over to the PX, and you wouldn't say. I mean, now if you were around somebody else and you heard them say that, you know exactly where and how they grew up, right?
Right. Or going to the commissary.
Going to the commissary. Man,
going to the commissary.
Going to the commissary.
Got to go grocery shopping.
Now, see, for everybody out there, the commissary was food. The PX was the department store. Two different places on base, right? And that's what you said. You never said you were going to the market. You were going to the commissary.
got to go to the commissary. Yeah.
Oh, Karen, that is so funny to me. Well, now, is your dad still around?
No, Dad passed in 91.
Okay.
And I tried his whole life to get him to talk about this. Here's the freaky part, as if that wasn't strange enough. When Dad died, he had cancer. It was very ugly, and he ended up kind of mostly just being out of it. One of these evenings when he was really having a bad time, I had come over to help Mom take care of him. And I kind of walked in the living room. We had his bed set up, and I walked in the living room. I said, "Dad, how you doing? You look like you're having kind of a bad night." And he was so terrified, and he was just white as a sheet. And he said, "Karen, the blue lights came for me tonight."
Wow.
And I just looked at him like, what? And immediately I remembered what he had said when I was a little tiny kid, eavesdropping on this whole thing that had happened. I immediately remembered, oh my God, my dad saw blue lights in the silo. And I said, did they try and hurt you, Dad? And he said, no, they were trying to get me to come with them. And this was in 91, and I hadn't listened to, any of this kind of stuff. I was interested in UFOs and Project Blue Book and investigations and all that. But there was nothing about blue spheres back then.
No. That is very, very interesting. Did he know Robert Salas?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've got my dad's transfer papers when he got transferred to North Dakota, to Grand Forks.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to try and get those to Mr. Salas to see if they were stationed there together at the same time.
That's
pretty
interesting.
Sure they should have been.
And Liz here in Twitter says she works at CENTCOM in North Dakota.
Yeah, she works at CENTCOM in North Dakota, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Man, you got to love these fader knots. They're the best. Karen, be safe, be well, have a great weekend. We'll see you right here on Monday.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'll talk to you soon.
Great phone call. Thank you so much. And I've got to say, I've done a lot of shows. I've never had anybody that was a witness to what was going on topside. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Take a quick break. I'll be right back with more of your phone calls. It's Fade to Black. It's Thursday night. It is Fader night. 323-825-57. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi folks, what can I say without making claims? CBD is truly the buzzword for health. What does it do? Government institutions will not allow me to say what this wonderful oil does for us. But I can say it's non-GMO and organic. I can say it's 0.003 THC, which in plain English means you won't get high. There are those that want to squash your freedom to buy natural products. Fight back with your purchase power. In the end, it is you that takes care of your health. Go to ancientlifeoil.com. One more time, ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black, Thursday night, Fader night. 323-825-5045. If you can't get through on that line, 323-275-9695. Open lines all night long. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello, Jimmy. Just calling from Australia.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Mirella.
Yes, I know.
You know. I've got nothing much to report, or I'm having a great time on Stella, putting all my stuff together and joining the dots in my world. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. Thank you on Stella. I also want to apologize to thank you, Sadonauts, for my occasional theatrical outbursts. I don't mean them; they just sort of come out, and it's a really good thing to be able to just share little thoughts while I'm working here at home, and kind of delete them quickly and get over it quickly and move on. So. Yeah, it's a great place to just check in when I can, mostly every day, because I have lunch at home, and it's on 1 till 3 here, Fade to Black in Australia.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't need disclosure, by the way, from any institution. I've started a series. I've been really connected to my brother through Fade to Black, because he doesn't listen, but he's had a really important sighting up on the Central Coast where he went gold mining, and it was published and everything. So after 20 years, we've really reconnected on certain issues, family and this community. So he's always interested in what's been happening. Anyway, he said, "Well, start painting, get your oil paintings together." And I said, yes, I've been too busy. Now I've started. I've got my 3 canvases here, 2 by 2 meters. And I'm going to, because I've never talked about my sightings, except the last one with you in December, I'm going to paint them up because I can't talk about them. It's too emotional. And so the way that I can get things out myself is to paint them up or to bring them forward in a creative way, which is what I've done all my life, working in animation and so forth. So I've really enjoyed the talks with the filmmakers. They talk my talk and walk my walk, and I love them. I love what's happening in the film industry with everything. I'm on LA time, by the way, because my grandkids are in LA, and my daughter works in Hollywood doing the sets, all the plants and flowers sets for film and television. And she's really worked hard to get a job there and so forth. But she married a Marine, and I was on the Air Force Base in Texas, in San Diego, and in LA. So, it's very interesting to me to be hearing from the military and the different sources over there. And I'm up at 3 a.m, and I'm getting tired now at the end of the afternoon. But yeah, I'm such a fan. I'm really such a fan. I don't need disclosure from anywhere or anyone. I have it here. The girls, my daughters and I talk continually about seeing the bigger picture. I think it's bringing awareness to everything in our lives, one by one, issue by issue, day by day, seeing a broader picture, having a broader awareness. And they're catching on. They love the news from Jimmy Church. Thank you.
Thank you, Morella. Be safe and be well, and we'll see you right here on Monday.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Morella. And yeah, she's right. She's over there hanging out on Stellar. So you need to go over onstellar.com, ONSTELLAR.com. And if you haven't signed up yet, when you do, just use my referral code, Jimmy. It's right there. You'll be glad that you did. Come and hang out with us over at OnStellar. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Let's go straight back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy. It's Sarah Ann from La Costa.
Hi, Sarah Ann from La Costa. How are you?
How you doing?
Hey, that was pretty good. Did you hear the show the other night with Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead?
Yeah. El Bop.
What? They shot that movie down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen it? Have you seen The Endless?
No, but it's on my list. I'm hoping to go this weekend. It sounds amazing.
It's so good. It's so good. And you're going to watch that and you're going to go, well, that was shot in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You'll see.
I'm excited.
So what's on your mind?
So I thought I would share a Blue Sphere story.
Oh, I love Blue Sphere stories.
Because I don't need no stinking disclosure.
Okay.
This is a pretty vulnerable share. I hope it's not too crazy, but it's, Fade to Black, so why not?
That's right.
So I had kind of my awakening about 4 years ago now, and I started to see energy again, and as soon as that started to happen, it was just like the floodgates opened and the awareness opened. But never in a million years did I associate anything that was going on with off planet, if you will. I just thought I was becoming like a psychic medium or something like that.
Right.
But shortly after this happened, I started to be followed around by a blue sphere. And it was about the size of a beach ball. It sounds so weird. But it followed me around for about 24 hours. And literally it would bounce into my apartment. I was living in Del Mar. And I would sit on the living room floor and engage with it. And it was alive. It was like a three-dimensional mandala or multi-dimensional mandala, and it moved really, really fast, and I could look into it, and it was like it was talking to me. It's just crazy. It's just weird.
Not at all.
Okay, well, here comes the weird part, and it's pretty funny how, just ignorant I was. So when I first woke up, I would start to get like pictures put in my mind, and they were like crystal clear, like HD TV in color. And then as the years went on, you know, I've kind of had to heal myself, and there was a lot of interference. But at the beginning, the downloads were crazy, just like I was watching a TV behind my closed eyes. And this orb showed me 3 different pictures this one afternoon that I was sitting in my living room. The first picture was a basketball game, and it looked like it could have been the Lakers playing, but it wasn't the Lakers. It was a team of, I can't remember if it was all men, but they were wearing purple and gold uniforms. That was the first picture, and it was moving, just like I was watching a television. The second picture was just a still image of a phone, and it was like a phone from when we grew up, like a rotary phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third picture was a very famous image from a movie from the 80s, and it was a little boy with a red hoodie on a bike with E.T. on the handlebars.
Really?
And I heard in my mind, phone home.
Right. So what did you do?
I called my mom and told her about the images because I thought I was like getting communications from a dead relative. Like I didn't even put it all together. I was like, phone home, so I literally phoned home. And, you know, she, of course, thought I was crazy, and we couldn't figure out who it could have been. And then, you know, it was later that I put it all together. But that was my the beginning of my contact journey that I could remember. Blue orb. Blue sphere.
Wow. Really, really a great experience to go through. But how did you deal with it? I mean, were you freaking out? Were you thinking, okay, I need to go see a doctor? You know.
Well, luckily, yeah. You know, I think like most awakenings, I was kind of on the brink of losing my mind anyway.
Right.
It happened after a lot of trauma. So, and it was weird. I wasn't scared. And a lot of scary things have happened to me since then. But I was quickly, you know, guided to a man who's now my spiritual teacher. He happens to be a psychologist. He's also a shaman, and he helps people who have been abducted. So he's been there to help me through the whole process and never telling me what is really going on, but just, you know, reassuring me that I'm safe. And all of the communications have been very gentle. And the awareness has just kind of opened up. I wouldn't say gentle, but it wasn't like, you know, all of a sudden there were just, you know, blue beams in my room at night.
Right.
Although there have been, but it came through mostly in imagery like that, just like downloads, like moving pictures.
Unreal.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, unreal. Now, the other part of it is, did you become comfortable? And were there, like, communications that ended up happening after that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of communication and a lot of contact. It's still not totally comfortable, but it has gotten a little more comfortable.
I think
it's never really not.
I think it's totally cool.
Thanks.
No, I do. I think I think it's totally cool, and probably for me, as you start to hear about these things that are happening like this, and you hear other reports about it happening, and you know about your own experience, and so many people will tell you that it's not real, or, you know, blah, blah, you know, whatever, you know, go down the list. And you know for a fact what you have been going through, right? This is the reality of it. And so you don't have to necessarily get in an argument with somebody else, but you know that you can listen to these other reports and know that you don't have to think that these people are crazy. You know, and I think that's what's most important. You know, and it just proves that there are two crazy people out there, and you are one of them, right? I mean, it's
exactly. I mean, it's a crazy party. No, but it's really beautiful what's happening right now, because more and more people that are very relatable and believable and educated are coming forward and saying all of these crazy experiences that they're having. I mean, look at Corey Good and the tall bluebirds, you know. I mean, it's no problem for me to talk about blue spheres when he's talking about things like that. Or Emery Smith with all the, different extraterrestrials that he's describing. It really allows people to, when you share your stories, you realize that we all have a piece of the puzzle, and we can kind of compare notes, and everybody has a different story, but it's okay. And it makes all of these experiences start to settle into the greater consciousness as something that is acceptable and believable.
That's exactly the point. Yeah. You really need to go see The Endless. So take the time to watch it this weekend. And, just know that, Justin Benson grew up down there. And the whole Heaven's Gate thing, which is kind of weaves its way in and out of this film as well. But it's about your neighborhood. So you need to go and check it out. It's a really good film.
I will. I promise. I'll go see it this weekend. And go see Another Earth, or actually rent it, because I think you would dig it, because it's all about parallel reality.
Yeah, I heard about it. I'm going to check it out. Thank you much, Sarah. Behave and be well.
Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Talk to you. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Dexter Dave Cusack.
This is who?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dexter Dave.
Hey,
from
Dexter.
Australia.
How are you, man?
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty good, man. I just want to say this is probably the first time I've ever been on radio, other than the time I rang in with Chris.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, no, you just deal with it, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm on my trip around Australia. I'm about halfway between Sydney and Brisbane, out in the middle of nowhere, up on a hill where I can get reception, so I could ring you.
And do you need disclosure?
No, man, not at all. Not at all. We are disclosure. Like, just listening to the people that are on and what they were saying, their experiences. I mean, my first UFO experience was a zigzag one, a green flash in the sky across Perth night, and my family were with me, so they saw it, but they don't talk about it. Me and my sister talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I was 12 or 13, and I always had the idea, the aliens, extraterrestrials, that they were real. I've always thought that Hollywood and movies were disclosing stuff in a certain way, a slow disclosure maybe. But yeah, no, I don't need disclosure, so I still got to read that article. I haven't got on to Interstellar today.
Well, see this. What about the point that I tried to drive home? That so much of this community wants just that. That disclosure for them is the president stepping up and doing a live broadcast. Is that good enough?
Look, I don't think it's going to happen. It would be great. It would be great if we could get to that point, but I just think it's going to be something over the next 20 years where we just keep pushing, and we get enough people to wake up, and we get enough people in this ascension process. And, I just don't think there's going to be a day where the media releases the information. The media is too controlled. The government's too controlled. There's too much going on that people don't see the big picture on. I'd love it. I'd love it so I could prove everybody, say, look, you were wrong, I was right. But it's not about that to me. It's about my own process of learning, listening to people like Emery and Corey and even Teresa, anyone that you've had on your show. Just it inspires me to do my research. Like John Rappaport is the reason why I rang up today. But yeah, because I have my own experiences with ADD and bipolar and stuff like that. Put on all sorts of medications. They tried to control me as a kid. And I've beaten all that as far as I'm concerned. Medication and drug free, and it's I don't know. there's things I think and there's things I know, and I don't, I think that he's right about the vaccines. I think there's a lot that we don't know that's being put in those vaccines to keep us from ascending, from the human race, from becoming the superpower that we probably are meant to be, stuff that Emery talks about. But yeah, bipolar, my dad's a doctor, and I did a lot of medical research through all the journals and stuff like that as I was a kid. He doesn't believe that bipolar exists, and I've read all the books, all the specialist books, and the stuff that John was saying just hit home for me, because I was 9 years old when they put me on Ritalin, and they put me on Ritalin to control me and to slow me down and to make me normal, so that I fitted into the class and I wasn't a disruptive person. I was a bit of a class clown, always speaking out of turn. And I ended up, after 2 years of having major anxiety, to the point where I would pee my pants in school, and it became a problem where people sort of recognised that I had big patch on my pants, and it made me very anxious. I'd already suffered major depression. I took myself off it at 11 years old, but then I went into major depression and became suicidal. And I think if I hadn't have smoked weed at 15, I probably would have committed suicide back then. And that sort of just changed my whole perspective on things, because back then I thought drugs were bad. That was the way the world was, and I believed what I was told back then. I believed that I needed to go on medication. I call my parents are both doctors and nurse, and I call them the generation, the baby boomer generation, basically a pop a pill generation, because the first thing they did when they thought there was something wrong with me was take me to a psychiatrist and put me on medication. Instead of looking at my diet, like drinking too much Coke or too many lollies and preservatives that were in the food, the first thing they did was medicate me to try and get me to fit in at school.
Mm-hmm.
And then years later, I got on into the drugs and stuff like that. And after I twittered it, but you can't talk about this in Twitter. You can't say what I need to say. That's why I rung up. Using a lot of ecstasy and speed for a couple of years, I was binging very, very hard, and then I had a major breakup with my partner, and I went very hard, and I got locked in jail, and my parents, being who they were, got me out of jail, put me in a psychiatrist care in a clinic, and I got diagnosed as bipolar and possibly borderline personality disorder. And it's exactly what John was saying, in his report. It's dead right. This bipolar doesn't exist. I've been around people that are schizophrenic over the years. I've been in and out of psych wards, and I've learned to see how they diagnose these people. If you go to a doctor and the doctor diagnoses you with something and you're not happy with it, you go and get a second opinion. And really, it should, with a mental illness, there should be some sort of barrier where they don't diagnose you the second you walk in. You should have 3 or 4 appointments, and they should be looking at your history. They should be looking at your nutritional diet. They should be looking at a lot of things before they go, all right, here's a script for a bipolar medication, an antipsychotic or a mood stabilizer. And being on those medications for 18 years since 23, and fighting the bipolar diagnosis and borderline personality diagnosis. I even got schizophrenia thrown at me, but he was dead right about what he was saying about coming off speed. You have manic highs and then you have the lows, there's more and more people being diagnosed with this stuff, and it doesn't matter if they're on drugs or not. I think the toxicity of society affects people so that they are feeling good for a while, and then they feel down because, they've got depression and they haven't dealt with their past. I keep telling people depression is related to the past, and anxiety is related to the future. Whenever you're depressed, you're thinking about something that's happened in your past that you haven't dealt with. And anxiety is always you worrying about what's about to happen, what's going to happen in your future, if you're going to get that interview, if something's going to go well in the future. So, these mental illnesses, they don't really exist, even dementia, I put in question. There's illnesses of the mind, but they don't necessarily. They're not. Anxiety and depression are in all of these mental illnesses that they diagnose kids and people with. So, speaking from experience, I just don't think they exist, and I just think it's got to do with trying to keep us from knowing the truth about who we really are. So.
Well, how are you? Well, two questions. One, did the medications that you were put on, did they ever help you or change you in the right way? How did you end up getting off of them? And I agree with you. Diet has everything to do. Once your chemistry goes off in your body, it can affect so many different things. But were you ever improved on those medications? And second, how did you get off of them?
Well, to be honest, I stopped smoking weed and doing all the drugs like I was told, and started taking medications. So depression medications, we'll start with that. Like, that just makes people suicidal, and I got off that real quick. I've been on and off it for short periods, and I just found it made me worse. But then the anxiety stuff, they put me on a stuff called olanzapine, which is also an antipsychotic, but it helped with anxiety. But also what I found is if I did go out and use speed or something like that, it actually stopped me having psychosis from the speed. But the medications itself, I mean, some of the more, like the lithiums and stuff like that John was talking about, they're toxic things, and they are, I've seen stuff that I've done research on. I can't, I need to do more research, but I've seen like reports about how at least 10 of those antipsychotic medications are actually something else. They're not good for you. And the olanzapine that I've been on and off for 18 years, I still occasionally will have one of those tablets if I feel really anxious, but it's been months, since, and I've stopped smoking weed and I still feel fine. I've stopped smoking cigarettes, so I'm not taking that toxins into my body. I'm eating healthier. I'm looking at I've ordered some CBD oil into Australia, not Ancient Life Oil, can't get that at the moment, but I've found a place that will send it into Australia. Keeping my caffeine levels down, not drinking too much coffee, not drinking those energy drinks. All these things have helped me. And like you asked with them getting off the medications, and did they help? Well, the only thing that helped me was the anxiety medication. But I think there's also something, I've been told I have a very high tolerance to drugs, to chemicals. So I think I get tolerant and I get used to it quicker, and I can overcome the side effects and what maybe is being done with those medications. And after taking olanzapine for 18 years, I don't think it, I remember when I first started taking it, after 3 or 4 hours, that medication would knock me out flat. I'd be comatose for at least a couple of hours. Didn't matter what I was doing, and I've never been someone that slept much. They used to call me "we never sleep" because I was a light sleeper and I didn't sleep much. But this medication used to knock me out. But after a couple of years of taking it, I got tolerant to it, and I can now take it, and it doesn't make me sleepy. Although, sometimes I used to just take it to help me get to sleep at night.
Right.
I think in our DNA we have the ability to overcome these drugs. The vaccines and stuff like that, and I think we're reaching a point after the last 100 years of being drugged and stuff being put in the water and whatever, people starting to awaken to this fact. We're also evolving to the point where these medications aren't as effective, so they keep coming out with new medications. You look at the listings for the bipolar medications and the schizophrenia medications, and you go to a doctor, they're bringing out all these new medications, and I think it's just to counteract the fact that the old ones aren't working anymore because we're getting used to them.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my opinion anyway. That's what I've seen, and being around a lot of people with schizophrenia and being able to basically say to them after 15 minutes and just go, right, so what happened to you was you were doing all right in your life, and then you weren't doing so well. You had a few flip-outs, and you may be doing some drugs and some alcohol, and you were sort of dealing with your own problems, and then you flipped out, and they took you and put you in hospital, and a psychiatrist came up to you, and he spoke to you for 15 minutes, and he diagnosed you, and then he put you on medication, and ever since then your life's been crap. And most of them just go, yeah, that's exactly what's been happening to me. And it's kind of said to me that, there's some conspiracy going on with this. If I can, sort of diagnose someone with bipolar or schizophrenia basically from the way they talk and the way they act and the medications they tell me on, and then turn around and say to them, you're not like that, and
right.
What's the change in that person?
Right. And see, and Dexter, I want to say this. It's the most important thing. You can't take there is no blood test for a mental disorder, right? And they're prescribing because they're looking at you, right? They're having a conversation, and then suddenly they want to change your body chemistry. It's just,
they want to drug you.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. If there's a blood test for bipolar, right, and they could identify some type of you know what? That's something that we could consider, but that's not what is done.
Exactly.
So there you go, Dexter.
No, and
Dexter.
CBD. I just want to say CBD oil is a mood stabilizer, and that's why when I smoked so much weed, it was more for the mood stabilizing. I never got high anymore. And that's why I'm sort of trying to look at that as something in my life, because it's proven to be a mood stabilizer. So,
it just straightens out your cannabinol system from the top to the bottom. So there you go. It gets you back in alignment. Thank you so much, Dave. Behave and be well out there, man, in the land down under.
Thank you, man. Go Beckley tapping, man.
That's what I'm talking about. Dexter Dave out there in Australia. One of the great phone calls I've had in a long time right there. All right, I'm going to take a break right here. I got to pay the bills. And when I get back, I'll be taking more of your phone calls. Stay with me.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, Fader night. One of our phone systems is down, and you probably saw me dialing on I was just wondering why that phone bank didn't fill up, and it's just ringing and hanging up. And I reinstalled software, and it was tested, but for some reason... it's not working. So there you go. 323-825-5045 is what is operational tonight. Good luck to me trying to get through this and sort it all out. I was wondering why one was just completely full and the other one was like, what's going on? And so I just checked it, and there you go. It just it does like a quarter ring and hangs up. So there you go. It is what it is. 323-825-5045. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Jimmy, is this me?
Yes.
Hey, I saw you at the Disclosure Fest, and I just thought it was so funny when you brought up that little kid to the stage, and you asked him, dude, are you awoke? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah, that was, I actually do remember that. I was treading into strange territory in that me saying the word woke, to somebody so young, I barely am comfortable saying it, right? It's just another generation away from me. But to have him go, of course, yeah. I was like, right on, okay. Yeah, I do remember that. What's your name?
My name is Rick.
Hey,
I live in Los Angeles.
That was a pretty amazing conference, wasn't it?
Oh, it was great, man. It was great to not have to pay $100 to see you guys.
Well, there was certainly that part, right? But I could not believe how many people were there. I mean, that was...
Oh, man, it was awesome.
It was out of control.
Had half the people there had no idea that there was that the UFO community had such a big community themselves at that place. A lot of it was like the vegan community. They found out about it through like the vegan Facebook stuff, and so I brought some of my friends from that community in there, and they were like, "What is this about?" And to go from like never hearing about the mummies and all that stuff to seeing an alien mummy,
right?
All at once.
Yeah, that was pretty tremendous. And so, since you were there, how cool was it to see that screen, the movie screen, get inflated? That was out of control. Was that out of control or what?
And it looked really good too. The movie looked really good.
I had no idea it was going to be that big, and I was, they didn't tell me. And so leading up to the conference, I was picturing, a stage with some kind of screen on it, but they kept telling me, no, it's going to be, 50 feet by 100 feet or whatever. I'm like, what? Right? So I didn't know until that thing got inflated. I didn't even...
Well, you guys made some funny jokes about that screen while it was being inflated. People don't know, the camaraderie between all you guys when you get together. You guys are almost on the spectrum when you get together. It's funny.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But I had no idea that an inflatable 100-foot movie screen even existed. I mean, look, you want to go rent a little jumper for your kids for a 5-year-old's birthday party? We see those all over L.A., right? Okay, I get that. But where do you go to rent 100-foot inflatable movie screen? It's just like, holy crap. That was so cool. It was ginormous. So what's on your mind?
Great.
What's on your mind, Rick?
Okay, so you mind if I ask you like 3 quick questions? So you remember that guy a couple weeks ago? He asked you he was like, oh, okay, it's 1979. You have the option of seeing this concert or this concert. Remember that guy?
Yeah, that wasn't a couple of weeks ago. That was like 6 months ago. But
time just goes by fast out here, man.
I do remember. I do remember that night. Yes.
Okay. The first question's a movie question, just to get to know you a little better.
Okay.
If you had a choice, best movies ever made: Rocky or Godfather?
Oh, Godfather.
All right.
Yep.
Wizard of Oz or Lawrence of Arabia?
Lawrence of Arabia.
It's 1982. You have the option of seeing Led Zeppelin. Never mind. It's 1976. You have the option of seeing Led Zeppelin at Madison Square Garden. Let's say.
Okay.
That even exists.
The
other option is you can go to this. The other option is you can go to this kind of like this outdoor place. There's waiters and stuff. Jim Pepper's going to open the show with Witchy Tai Toe, and then Neil Young's going to come out and play America, and then it's going to finish with Deep Purple. Or you can go see Led Zeppelin.
Ooh, I'm going Led Zepp.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going Led Zepp. I'm going. Look, you're making it tough. Okay, that's not an easy decision.
You're just making me feel good. I know.
That's a tough one. But you know what? If you go back, Rick, and you think about 1976, 1977, Led Zeppelin, frigging Robert Plant was on the cover of Hit Parader and Cream and every Rolling Stone every single month of the year, right? The influence of Led Zeppelin was extreme back then. I lived through it. And it was all about that. The Song Remains the Same, which was filmed at Madison Square Garden, and the impact that it had over that summer, and all of us going to the movie theaters and watching it. So the impact of Led Zeppelin at the time, during that, was huge. I mean, Jimmy Page being.
Did you get a chance to go see them?
Yes, I did. I saw them in Indianapolis at Market Square Arena.
Wow.
Yeah,
you
I did.
Must have been like emotional.
Well, what was funny about that? What was funny is I went with a friend of mine who I can't remember his name. I was in 8th grade, man, 8th grade, and up to that point, I had seen Peter Frampton. Right, I saw Peter Frampton, and I was in 8th grade. I didn't have a ton of concert experience. I saw Peter Frampton and Rick Derringer open. I had seen Santana. I'm trying to think who opened for Santana. But anyway, I'd only seen a few concerts, and Led Zeppelin wasn't something that I knew a whole lot about. And my friend in 8th grade brought over a bunch of Led Zeppelin records, and everybody was scammering for these tickets, and my dad was able to get me tickets through the Army, right, through the rec center or something. Wow. And so I got 2 tickets. I didn't know what to do. I invite my friend from school, and he comes over and plays a bunch of records. And I was kind of getting into it. And I went. I was young. I was probably 13. And my dad dropped me off at Market Square Arena. Dropped me off, and me and my friend walk in, and my dad came back at like 11 o'clock at night or something, and picked us up. But I didn't know. I didn't know the stuff like I would figure out in years later. But it was a great experience. So, yeah. I was there, Market Square Arena, 1970. Man, I'm thinking 77. I think that was 1977.
Dude, I just want to say, man, I love your show. I love everything. Coast to Coast was my introduction when I was 22. Now I'm 34.
Right.
Teach yoga all over Los Angeles. Just taught a class, and man, I don't think it's so weird, man. There was a woman sitting next to me at Disclosure Fest, and she showed up in my yoga class in Tarzana, like that week, the next week. It was so weird.
What are the odds of that? Are you guys friends now?
Well, first of all, my yoga, they're kind of like a conservative crew. They're like a lot of foreigners in the Tarzana yoga class, and in a good way. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know how that came out when I just said that. But the average age of my students in that class is like 60. And this woman that came in, she's like 35. And then she hands me a book that my last day there was a couple weeks later, and she hands me this book that she got from Mount Shasta. Book she's listening. And it was like just everything alien. And I've never had anybody in the yoga community talk about aliens, UFOs, or anything. So that was cool. And I hope that more people in the yoga community will get involved.
Yeah, there is, and the yoga community is big, and you're bringing up a very interesting point that a lot of people are out there talking about right now, which is the health and wellness awakening yoga community that is out there has been blending into our UFO community, and the other way around too as well, where the yoga community they may be interested in ET or have they're okay with it, but they don't know about Rendlesham. They don't know about Roswell. They don't know who Bob Lazar is. And so when the Atacama mummy that you were just talking about.
Yeah, they're just kind of like right now. They're just kind of open to it.
Right, they're open to
new stuff.
Right, and so it is blending, and I hope that it continues. I'm totally okay with it, and I think both sides are okay with it. I can tell you right now, I have walked in to different new age communities where I've gone in and started talking to people, and they have never. I've gone through a whole room full of people that have never heard of Coast to Coast. Right? They don't know. They have no idea.
Yeah, people just don't know.
No,
I think it's like I don't know how it befalls people to listen to Coast the first time or this show for the first time. It's sort of like maybe you're guided towards it or something. I don't know.
Right. And and I can go to other places where everybody in the room has listened to Fade to Black and Coast to Coast, and we go through and they want to talk to me about it, and you kind of get used to that a little bit. And then I'm serious, man. I've walked to one person after another that have no clue what I'm talking about. Not that I would bring it up. What I mean is the conversation is always general. So what do you do? Oh, I'm a health and wellness instructor, right? A coach. Well, what do you do? Oh, I'm a radio host. Oh, for what? For Coast to Coast. What is that? Really?
You just got to come out with it, man. What are they going to do?
So and it's okay. And they've written things down and gone and checked it out and come and checked out Fade to Black, and maybe they watched Ancient Aliens or whatever, and they're okay with it. But it's it seems that everybody in our community, Rick, and it's the truth, that everybody assumes that everybody knows about Fade to Black and Coast to Coast. Right? But that's not the case. It's simply not the case.
Sure.
Well, I'm glad you had that experience, man. And so those were your three questions.
Yeah, I wanted to
Okay.
I wanted to have a reason to call in.
All right. Well, let me back up. So then what would you do? Would you do Deep Purple or Led Zeppelin? No, which version of Deep Purple?
Oh my God.
See, because that's important to me too as well.
I don't even know like so much about them. I just, I know they're like the mainstream songs, and I just I'm into all of it because I listen to different songs for different reasons. Sometimes I'm like, man, I just want to hear the drums, and like sometimes it's something else.
Right.
Like everybody. That's a very broad statement.
Well, because you have the Ian Gillan Deep Purple, and then you have the David Coverdale Deep Purple.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, two different versions of Deep Purple. And then Ian Gillan came back later on, and they did that album Perfect Strangers after Coverdale left. So I'm kind of an Ian Gillan Deep Purple. All right, so that's me. So that would make it even a tougher decision. The David Coverdale.
I definitely think Rocky. I've evolved. I used to think Godfather. Now I think Rocky's better than Godfather. Just the way I feel afterwards. I don't know if it's that movie's just effective.
Wow, Rick, you need to take a step to the left really quick because some lightning.
Right, man. I'm the only yogi on the right.
Yeah, some lightning's about to strike, man. Be careful. Have a great night, my friend. Thank you for calling.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That's a great phone call right there. That's when I go back and I think about some of these situations with bands growing up, knowing what I know now versus what I knew then, that's especially with Neil Young, because Neil Young today I understand. Neil Young, when I was growing up, I couldn't stand it. I thought it was out of tune. I didn't think it was rock and roll enough. I listen to it today, and it makes me weep. Man, it's just, Neil Young is amazing. And I would have passed up Neil Young in a second when I was growing up, all the way through high school. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Tom from Dayton, Ohio. How are you doing today?
Hi, Tom from Dayton, Ohio. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Hey, I just wanted to call in and say thank you for getting back to me on Stellar. I messaged you, and for everybody out there that has never messaged Jimmy on Stellar, he's on top of that stuff, man. And so in regards to with this Ancient Life Oil, that's what I asked you about, if you had a promo code for that.
Okay.
I was wondering if I could talk to you a little bit about that.
Well, it'll get me kicked off of YouTube, but go ahead.
All right. Well, let's just say this product, and I have my father, my stepfather, has been having some medical problems lately, and what it is the doctors out there, they don't really know what's wrong with him. They've done all kinds of tests, and he's losing weight. He's really weak. And, everybody's thinking cancer, but everything that they've looked for, they've found nothing. And, I've heard about this product for a long time, and it has a myriad of things that it helps. And I'm just wondering, if is there any way you can get information on what it actually does? Because I know they can't say what it does, right? So that's in and of itself the problem.
Right. Well, you're going to need to go and do some research, but I would email Life Change Tea. Email Ronnie and talk to him about it directly.
Really? Okay.
That's what I would do. Right. He really knows his stuff when it comes to that.
And is that information on?
You can go to just go to Life Change Tea.
Life Change Tea. He owns both of those.
Yes, right? Yes, he does, and it's getthetea.com.
Okay, I'll reach out to them. I've already put in the order because the way I'm looking at it is when there's a couple things that kind of push me this way, and I'm just thinking about it when they don't know what's wrong. And from what I do know, or what I have researched, is this stuff helps, like I said, for multiple different things. And if we don't know what's wrong and you don't do anything, then that, you're going to regret it if something bad happens. You know what I mean? If you have the opportunity to purchase something, and even though it's a little bit expensive, at least for me, and you don't do anything, and then God forbid he passes or something like that, and then you find out, hey, this could have helped for that, and you didn't try it, I mean, then you're going to have that guilt for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I hear you there.
And so that's what, that's where I was at. I was like, look, I can spend the money, get this stuff, and if it doesn't work, it's not going to hurt them. But if it does work, it's worth its weight in gold. And so that's where I'm at, and that's the decision that I made. So I went ahead and sent him a bottle. He's down in Florida, so hopefully that'll get things straightened out, and I'll continue to do research on that. But with the call-ins and the guy from, I believe it was Australia just a little bit ago, talking about how some of the things that with this medical industry has kind of done over the years, they just want to sell you treatments. They don't want to sell you cures.
Yeah, that's I've talked about that a lot, and I want to thank you, Tom, for the phone call. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, and I've got to take a break right here, Tom. But thank you for the phone call, and I am pretty solid. This is just through my own experience. I am pretty solid on the changes that I've made for myself in my diet, because everything that I do now, everybody knows I'm a foodie, but everything that I do now, I do it in such a way that the things that were feeling funky to me have been removed. And one of those is soft drinks. I think that real sugar, pure sugar, that's okay in moderation. Certainly, that's fine. But fructose and corn syrups and the things that are so not only bad for you, but in abundance, and you go and you constantly assault your body for years and years and years, throwing your body chemistry and your brain completely off kilter. So what I ended up doing is changing everything around to all I drink now, not all, but 95% of what I drink now is water. That's what I drink. I drink water. Yes, I drink coffee. Yes, I do that. But as far as anything else out there, I don't drink beer. No, I don't have any soft drinks. I drink water. That's it. And tea. That's all that I do. That was a big change in my diet. And all the other wacky things that I was doing, and it's been years. I mean, things like, if I'm going to have pancakes or waffles, I don't use any kind of crazy things called syrup. I use maple syrup, pure maple syrup. That's what I eliminate all of the chemicals out of my diet. Yes, I do red meat. Yes, I do fish, but all of the vegetables that I have are good. They're fresh, and we cook them fresh, and we prepare things fresh. Doing that with the supplements that I take has changed everything for me, and that includes CBD. And that's what I do, and it's changed me. Not only physically, but mentally, too, as well. It's amazing what it does for you. With that, I'm going to take my last break here before the end of the night, and I'll be right back to take more of your phone calls. If you're on hold, stay right there. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. It is Thursday night. It is Fader night. 323-825-5045. More of your phone calls are next, right after this short break. Stay with me.
to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, Fader night, my favorite night of the week. Great phone calls tonight. All of them. Unbelievable. Janine just posted, what about Hansen's natural sodas? And I replied back, pure cane sugar. Yum. And I think over the house we've got probably got a case of those. But yeah, I do that. I get the exotic sodas. And I'll go and, those small batch exotic sodas, but it's got to be, some custom brewed made pure cane sugar situation. But I don't do it in excess. But yeah, I do check that stuff out. But none of the commercial crap. I don't even touch it. Anything like that in our diet, it's been eliminated. I mentioned syrup because it just comes to mind. read the ingredients on some of those syrup. Oh, ugh. But anyway, let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Jimmy Church, Eddie Trunk, and Howard Stern, my 3 faves.
Eddie Trunk and Howard Stern and Jimmy Church. I'll go with that.
Man, that's pretty good company.
Yeah, it is. That's pretty good company. That's pretty good company. Thank you for that. What's on your mind? What's your name?
Taylor from West Virginia.
Taylor from West Virginia. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. But how can you forget Glenn Hughes and Deep Purple?
What? No, Glenn Hughes, bass player, man. He's amazing. Glenn Hughes today rocks probably harder than he did when he was in Purple. And I'll take it a step further. Nobody dressed like Glenn Hughes did back in the day.
Hey, I like it. I like that stuff him and Bonamassa's doing.
Yes, that's all. Look, Glenn Hughes. I went through. This is a few weeks ago. This is really funny. I went through a Glenn Hughes day in the bunker. I did Glenn Hughes, man, and I watched a couple of things that he has done recently, and I got to tell you, I don't know how old he is. He's got to be 70 something, and
it's good stuff, yeah.
And he hits the notes, man. He is right there. But nobody did bell bottoms, man, like Glenn Hughes. Great bass player, great dresser, great theatrics, great image. Had the hair. And he had the pipes, man. There's no question about it. No question.
And he can keep up with Joe Bonamassa on bass with him playing that Gibson pretty well also.
Yeah.
But did he not did he not sing for Deep Purple for a while?
I don't know. He was always the bass player. I don't think he ever fronted Deep Purple.
Oh, okay.
I think he only played bass and sang, Highway Star, But there you go. So what's on your mind?
That's it, man. That's all I got.
That's you know what? And it was perfect. Thank you so much.
You.
Have a great night, man, and we'll see you on Monday right here on the show. That was pretty cool right there. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Ooh.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live, but you got to turn me down in the background.
Oh, hey, Jimmy. This is Johnny Ricardo, man.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine, man. Doing fine. Hey, right off the cup, I just wanted to comment on the we don't need no stinking disclosure thing.
Okay.
I know we don't need it, but I can think of a lot of people, especially friends of mine, that do need it.
I know. At Contact in the Desert, during I think it was Sunday night. It was one of the panels, and so I said, I got all cocky. I said, "Come on, do you guys really need the President of the United States to step up to the microphone and announce disclosure, right?" And the place erupted. I was like, "Well, that answers that question. That's exactly what they need, and." And I get that. I understand. I really do. I do. For me, I think I need it for the community. That's what I need it for. I need it for all of you because I understand what that would mean. But go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead, Johnny.
But yeah, no. And yeah, just like one thing I definitely wanted to add to that concerning the fact that Luis Elizondo, and them just don't want to work with us. I think that's a major mistake on their part. It's like, no, you guys need us, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they need us.
They do. And which goes back to when Tom DeLonge sent me that statement to read on Coast to Coast on that one night. I think it was a Friday. And he's clearly stated in there, I am you, I am part of the community. And to take that statement and get the community behind you by saying that and then turn around and apparently, I don't know if that's necessarily Tom's position about ignoring and snubbing the community as it is much as maybe Elizondo and TTSA, but that's a bad mistake because you're not going to, you're just not going to get away from that. You're going to be facing that music for a while. But the other part of it, let me tell you what the other part is, and then I'll let you respond, which is this. The ability to have the community respond and prop you up and support you is gone. The disappearance of To the Stars in not only in media but in general, it's faded away. It's almost like To the Stars never happened. And part of the reason for that is this community isn't talking about it anymore. It's past tense. It's passé. It's last year. And that's because you have chosen to ignore the community. And I had stated, Johnny, in an article, and I really meant this, that Lewis can go out and say whatever he wants. He can go to the MUFON symposium and flap his jaws. I know that he was on Coast to Coast this weekend or last weekend. I didn't listen to the show with Knapp, but I chose not to listen to it because I don't care. I know that there's not going to be anything new. It's only going to be saying the same stuff over and over again. So and I'm hopeful that To the Stars brings something to the table, and now some crazy thing gets launched, and we can all get excited again. But I don't think. I think that the best days of To the Stars are behind them. And that's it. Totally. That's it. That's it. And maybe it'll change, and I'll be there to report the story and talk about it. But that's my take.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing that comes to mind with Tom DeLonge, that interview he did with Joe Rogan really worked against him, and sort of brought a bad sort of image to the community, in my opinion. And Rogan, he's been talking trash ever since. And that's why I'd love to see Richard Dolan be invited onto Joe Rogan's podcast, because I think Rogan, or not Rogan, but Richard Dolan, he comes across a lot more balanced and down to earth.
Yeah, and see, I think Joe has moved on past this phase of his life for whatever reason. Okay, so there's that part of it. The second part, though, is that when DeLonge went on the broadcast and spent all that time, Joe shouldn't have snubbed him. He should have treated him with respect, but he didn't, and that was wrong. And I was very vocal about that. I would never do that with a guest. But when DeLonge pulled up that TR3B video off of YouTube,
I know,
and played that, and Rogan rolled his eyes, I rolled my eyes, and I'm just thinking to myself, DeLonge, what are you doing? You do not, if you actually believe that TR3B video was a real video, I'm questioning judgment here, and just like Joe did. So on that part, but the reaction in the eyes rolling and everything that Joe did, I thought was wrong. You just don't do that to somebody. DeLonge playing that video, he didn't do himself any favors.
That's true. I mean, even when I watched a video done by Body Language, or what's now called Body Language Ghost on YouTube, she even broke it down to where it's DeLonge's totally in believe me mode, and of course Joe's total skeptic.
And Joe didn't used to be total skeptic. Joe was out there trying to figure this out himself. And I think that the questions And the conversations that he had with Randall Carlson, with Graham Hancock, were really good. And it was fascinating. And I watched all of those podcasts. Those were really good. But then when he brought on Tsoukalos and the way that he treated Giorgio, it was, you know, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Joe. Look, he makes a lot of money. He's got a big fan base, and it pushes his thought process and his ego around probably a little bit too much, where he's going to take somebody like Tom DeLonge, who was live in his studio, and instead of treating him with respect, went the other way because he thought it was funny, because he thought his audience would laugh at it. And you know what? That's just not being professional. You know, Joe wouldn't do that if it was one of his friends, you know, that was maybe believing in the UFO subject. Would he treat them that way? I don't think so. You know, and he took the opportunity. You could tell, man, he was trolling. He smelled blood. Yeah. You know, and he lost control of himself on a professional side. So that was it. I haven't been back since DeLonge. Now I've been out there outspoken about DeLonge and more about To the Stars, not as much about DeLonge, but how To the Stars is being run. I've been very vocal about that. But but I have not gone back and watched 1 second of Joe Rogan. I don't care who the guest is. It left that bad of a taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I only just keep up with clips now and then. Hope sometimes with like people that interest me, like Jimmy Dory. But yeah, otherwise he's just been kind of wearing thin on me lately.
Yeah, and it's sad because I spent a couple of years pretty invested into Rogan and his podcast and recommending it, but not anymore. I just can't do it. You know, maybe one day I'll get back, but it's going to take me a while. I mean, he showed his colors to me that night with DeLonge, and there you go. Thank you so much, Johnny. We'll see you Monday on the show.
Hey, you're welcome, Jimmy.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you Monday, man.
You got it, man.
Go Beckley Tepe, and may the force be with you, man.
Right back at you. Go Beckley Tepe. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, it's Tanette.
Hi, Tanette. How are you?
I finally got through.
Yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
It's been a pretty busy night here on the phones.
Right. So I posted up a picture a couple times about what looked like a let me start from the beginning. So
okay.
I was looking out to I'm in Washington State, so I was looking out to the northwest sky, which would be over the Pacific Ocean. And I kept seeing this light out there. At first I saw 4 lights, and they weren't moving. They weren't doing anything. So I didn't record them, but there's not any stars supposed to be over there.
Okay.
And so then it was probably a month later, I saw another, just one really bright star over there. And I was like, well, there's not supposed to be any stars over there.
Right.
So I started recording it, even though it wasn't moving. And I have several videos to where I was just recording the bright light over there, whatever it was.
Right. And I'm playing it. I found the video. You did this. You posted it a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and I also messaged it to Rita, and she says, "What am I seeing?" And I said, "I don't know. What am I seeing?"
Right.
But I think what she was asking is, "What am I looking at?" And what it was is that over in the northwest sky, I saw just this bright light. It was just sitting there. It wasn't moving. It wasn't doing anything. And so I saw the 4 to 5 of them several months ago, which I didn't record because they weren't doing anything.
Right.
They weren't moving.
Right.
So then, like, it was probably a month and a half ago, I saw one over there, and it just wasn't moving. And there's not any stars over there. So what I did is I wanted to explain, I posted a couple times, but I wanted to explain what happened, is that I sat there and filmed it for several minutes, didn't do anything. Filmed it for several minutes more, didn't do anything. Filmed it for several minutes more, and still it was just staying stationary. Well, in the meantime, a plane went by, and it was just still sitting there. And there's not supposed to be a star over there. So I zoomed in on it, and of course when you zoom in, it's very, very hard to stay still.
Right.
So I zoomed in on it, and so that it's moving around as I'm zooming in, but it wasn't actually moving. It was just still staying there. And I was trying to ask you, when Deb from Sacramento was on the phone, if she saw the same thing, because if it was in the northwest sky, then it might have been the same thing that I saw.
Right.
But she said hers was orange looking.
Right, gold. Right.
Right. So my question is there any fires down there to where there was smoke in the air to where it would look kind of orangish?
Right. This is.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just posted the video. Everybody, you can go and check it out right now on Twitter, so you can see what Tanette is talking about. It's up there right now. So go ahead, Tanette.
Okay, thank you. So, so I think we may have been seeing the same thing, but you guys down there are a little bit hotter than us, and I'm thinking, well, maybe the smoke from the fires caused it to look orange.
Right.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But when I zoomed in on this thing, it looked like a freaking plasma ball.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because it's got now that may be the way it was picked up by the camera, which I can understand that, but it's so everybody understands what Tanette is talking about. When she zooms in on it, it's got a black ring and then a halo of fire on the outside of that.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy looking. I mean, it's got,
I know. But I also so okay, if it was a bright star, then when I zoomed in, it could have been like a camera deflection.
Yeah, some way of
pixelating kind of thing.
Yeah. But what causes the black ring? And see, there's enough people listening to this show that are going to look at this and go, okay, this is what causes that. Okay, great. But I think what's more important here is you need to get on your cell phone a star mapping software. It's all free, right? I use Night Sky. So you can take night sky, open it up, and then point it at the star, and it'll line up and tell you what star you're looking at. And so if you line it up and it doesn't show a star there, the whole, you'll see constellations and everything. It's really cool. And that's what you need to do. Every time you see anything like that, open up night sky. Just let it line up, and you'll find out very quickly. But if it's something that you haven't seen up there before and it's there you go, and is it, when was the last time you saw it? Is it out there now?
No. Well, we have a lot of clouds out here, obviously, because I'm out of Seattle area. So I haven't seen the bright star since, but things in the sky don't, if it's a natural thing, it doesn't move that dang fast.
Well,
it should still be there.
That's right. Well, if it's a star, it should still be there. If it's a planet,
right,
it should still be there.
Right.
It should be there tomorrow. or the next night.
Right.
So the next clear night. Scott just says use Star Tracker. Maybe that's what I use. I thought I used Night Sky. I don't even know. And I've got this new iPhone, so I don't even know if I've moved the program over to here. Yeah, I have it.
And I think both of those are pretty good apps to use for that.
Yeah, I use Night Sky. That's what I use. And Night Sky also, and it's right here. It's so cool, right? So I'm down in the bunker, but right above me right now, I know what's up there. And I know what's down in China, right? Because I can point it to the ground.
Right.
What's on the other side of the earth. But I absolutely love this.
I know. It's like so amazing. So I can't figure out if it's a camera pixelation thing, which possibly could be. But I tried to replicate it on some other bright stars in the sky.
Right.
And I zoomed in on them. It does not do that.
Yeah, that was my next question. You gotta start eliminating things, and that is one. Just go into that. But you've got to get the star tracking software. Do you have an iPhone?
No, I got Android.
Android. Okay, I think Star Tracker may be better for you. I don't know if Night Sky, what I use, is available on Android. Maybe it is. But you get one or the other. When I used to have Android, I had I think I used Star Tracker. I think that is correct. So anyway, just go and get it. It's free to download, and you'll use it all the time. Anytime you see something strange in the sky, grab it and go and just eliminate something. Right? Just make sure it's not it's not a planet or a star.
Right, but there is not. That's what my point was. Is there's not supposed to be anything over there.
That's right. Well, and like I said, definitely 100% check it with some star tracking software. That's what you got to do. You need to definitely draw a line through that, and take it off the list.
Right, but if that was not a star or it's obviously not a plane because when I was filming there was an actual plane that went by past it.
Tanette, I get all of that. And so the other thing that it could be is a satellite sitting up there that's reflecting sunlight right now. So when you see it, excuse me, you don't see it on the star tracking software, right? So it's not a star. So it's possibly that it's some kind of satellite sitting up there, or it's a friggin' UFO talking to you.
Right, but if it was a satellite, I tracked it over. I didn't post this, but I tracked it over like probably 2 hours, and it didn't move.
Well, some satellites are geostationary; they don't move ever.
Oh, okay, get it?
Yeah. And
then why, when I zoom in, would it look like a freaking plasma ball?
I know. I'm with you. It's a great video. It's a great video. So let's try to figure out what it is. Star chart.
Right.
That's what Mark Tarana says to use. He says use Star Chart. So we've got Star Tracker, Night Sky, and Star Chart. And with that, Tanette, I got to get out of here.
Thank you, man. Have a good night.
You too, Tanette. Thank you so much. And Tanette's video was posted up there. I would like everybody's opinions on that. Take a look at that. And what do you think is causing, the halo around it? It doesn't look like what I have seen on my cameras. I get a star. That halo, it's got a black ring. It's concentric. It's pretty cool. Go check it out. I've got it posted right there at JChurch Radio on YouTube. So there you go. That is another unbelievably fun Thursday night, Fader night, open lines with all of you, and John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom live. Fade to Black's executive producers Rita Camarion. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster Drew the Geek. Music Doug Aldrich. Intro Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until Monday, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.